vertical video is quickly becoming a primary method for consumption. Even streamers are looking to make both options available, portrait and landscape. StreamYard just released MARS, not the planet, multi-aspect ratio streaming. And that enables simultaneous vertical and wide, or portrait and landscape streaming at the same time. It's crazy, right? Instagram and Facebook, one vertical, one wide. YouTube and YouTube, one vertical, one wide, all at the same time. It's kind of crazy. But for those new to the conversation, what's the use case? Like, why would anyone actually want to use this? And maybe there's a benefit we're missing. We'll answer these questions and show you how to use this crazy new feature in this video. Let's dive in. Well, man, listen, I really want to just dive right in here. But before we do, I want to share, like, man, MARS is a game changer, right? This is multi-aspect ratio streaming. I wanted to put it on screen so you can understand what it is. And of course, StreamYard has done a little bit of branding around this in terms of, you know, the way that they've incorporated the planet Mars into some of the functions and features, or that's just the graphics around this new feature. And I'll say this as well, man. So I'm going to show you a couple of things on the desktop, but the way that it works, it allows you to stream to both. Aspect ratios. So aspect ratio is essentially vertical or wide, 9:16 or 16:9. Those are your aspect ratios, and it allows you multiple aspect ratios at the same time. So multi-aspect ratio streaming. So the other thing that I have heard multiple times since this feature was released is, where is it? I don't see it. I go into my studio, I don't see it. I go into my reusable studios, I don't see it in there. How do I turn it on? Well, it's actually enabled when you set up the stream. And so we're going to go through that real quick here, and then we're going to go into a live demo. But you would have to be streaming, of course. So this isn't going to work for recording. And I don't believe they've set it up for webinars, but I haven't really got into that part of the feature. I'll dig deeper on that later. But if you go to live stream and then you select, in my case, I'm going to select YouTube, also going to select Instagram, right? So I'm selecting both of those destinations. And as soon as I select those, you'll see this thing comes up, all set. You're about to enter a Mars studio. Learn more here. And they have a really robust training session that you can go through on Mars. That would be a great partner to this video that I'm creating right now. But then here you would want to put your description, put your title. You can decide if you want to schedule for later. When you go to customize for each destination, so all of this is fairly similar to if you've ever scheduled a stream with a StreamYard before. This is similar. You go to customize each of your destinations. I selected two. I selected YouTube. I selected Instagram. So you see both of those here. For YouTube, I can go through, further dial in my description and my title. I can decide right here what aspect ratio, right? Mars, the A and the R stand for aspect ratio, but I can decide what aspect ratio I want, landscape or portrait. But the recommended from StreamYard is actually both. And so here you'll see it saying, we're recommending that you stream to both landscape and portrait. So that's where that is. And they have a little blurb here as well. You can now stream in both formats on YouTube. This will create two separate posts and count as two separate destinations. So that will count in your destinations, depending on what plan you're on. That may have some form of impact. So something to think about there. You can set your if it's public or private. You can change your category. That's a new feature. And then we can go down here and make whatever changes we want to the Instagram stream. For Instagram, you will have to go over to the platform and actually select the stream key from Instagram. And you would have to input that here. And they're giving you some instruction on how to do that, but you don't have choices here on Instagram. You see that it's just locked to portrait. The aspect ratio or orientation is locked to portrait, and so meaning you're going to get the tall 9:16 view on Instagram. So that's how that's going to look. One of the things I want to say right here, of course, is if you're unfamiliar with how to stream to some of these destinations, this video is really more a cover for me to cover the Mars feature. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take the time to really go through in-depth, step-by-step, walking through some of the more granular details of streaming to some of these platforms. But I did want to showcase this, and also want to showcase a demo. Now, I could not do this demo live, meaning I couldn't stream this and record it at the same time. So I went ahead and streamed it ahead of time so that we could watch that stream together in this video, and you'll kind of see some of the pieces of how this thing is going to all work, right? How it all works. And so here I am inside the studio. You can see both aspect ratios, right? And I'm actually live right now on YouTube and on Instagram. You can see that screen is showing right now what it looks like on Instagram. You can see that I can change what the layouts are, and you can see what that does to the different destinations that we have, both Instagram and of course YouTube. And then YouTube, remember, we're streaming twice because one is vertical and one is wide. So this is the vertical version on YouTube. You can see what that looks like. And then I'm going to go back over here. You can select that check mark, and I can go and view it on YouTube in the wide version. And so this is what that wide version of the stream looks like as well. And so going back over to Instagram, you can see that I've typed a comment here, but StreamYard does not, I want to repeat that StreamYard does not currently have the ability to pull in comments from Instagram. It's still very much a manual process, and that's not necessarily StreamYard's fault. The other thing that I'm doing here, of course, typing comments in on YouTube vertical, then typing comments in on YouTube wide, right? So portrait, landscape, you can see the different ones just based on what you're seeing on screen. And one of the things I noticed is that you don't get the comments together. Like the comment section is separate. So that's a critical point to notice here. While I see all the comments inside StreamYard in the comments section here, and I can put comments on screen, you can see what those comments look like. Comments for my vertical go up to the top. You see that up there next to the amount of time that I'm streaming. You can also see. So I'm going to go over to the platform now, having to click live on this so that it actually catches up to real time. And you can see that comment is right there on the screen, right? This is the wide comment. And you can see what that comment looks like in the vertical one. And it's up in the top left corner, which is an odd place for comments. I don't know why StreamYard put it there, but maybe it will make more sense as I continue to play with the feature, but I did want to showcase that this is what it looks like. You can see the comment on Instagram, even though I don't have the ability to pull comments into StreamYard that are coming in from Instagram. So keep that in mind as well. That limitation isn't anything new. StreamYard has never been able to pull comments from Instagram, even though they have had the ability to stream to Instagram for some time now. I'm just kind of going through some of the layouts, and I'm going to go a little more in depth in this particular piece in terms of layouts and scenes, overlays, that kind of thing inside StreamYard in just a second. But I wanted you to be able to see what it looks like while live, what those comments come through looking at like, and how those layouts appear to the end viewer who is watching at whatever destination you're streaming to, whether it's one of the YouTubes or if you're streaming to Instagram vertical as well. So those are some of the things that are there. And that is kind of the live demo of this videos. I wanted to make sure you guys got a chance to see what it looks like while live, but also, man, you know, the question that I'm continually getting, of course, is what do we do for overlays? What do we do for layouts? What do we do for scenes? I'm going to give you a brief overview of this as well right now. So this is StreamYard. This is inside the studio that you just saw a second ago where I ended the stream. So everything is still here. You can see ended. I only streamed for about 4 minutes there. So hopefully that wasn't too long, but you got a chance to get a full taste of what that looks like. Again, you're seeing what this looks like here. This is the vertical one. This is the wide one. And that gives you a preview of both in terms of where we're streaming to. I can actually hide the vertical, I guess, preview. And then I can also bring that back. So you have the ability to do that. And as I was doing during the live stream, you can change your layouts here. But if you want to stack those features in terms of scenes, I'm going to show you that in just a second. One of the things I found interesting is when you go to your media assets, right? You will see that, of course, this is my How It All Works logo, and it is taking up the whole screen, even though it isn't taking up the whole screen on the vertical side. You'll notice here that it's giving me black and black on the bottom and the top of this graphic. So that's pretty good. I think that will work. But if you also notice here, this does not work, right? It gives me the black and the black, but it gives me the transparent, and it's like, nah, that's not what I want. And so you will have some weird scenarios where you need to go through and kind of fix your assets, right? So here it's saying you're in dual asset mode. Use the 3-dot menu to customize how assets look like each orientation. So I can come here and hit the 3 dots and say hide from stage for the vertical one. So if I hide that, so then it'll just stay. So I can put that lower third on the wide version, but I can leave it off on the vertical one. Another thing I want to showcase here, of course, I'm going to show this one. If I go here to this, I can actually go to replace this asset. Now I'm going to want to replace the vertical one because that's the one that looks weird. I'm going to replace this asset with one that I've just created. Let's try this one. So I'm going to try this one. We'll replace that one with that one. Okay. So, and then you're going to see it now. It looks a little bit better. And so again, it's just a matter of designing, grabbing the 9x16, redesigning it for what you want it to look like. And then these assets can actually work for you. So hitting those 3 dots, you can replace the horizontal asset or the vertical asset. You would design them separately. And I designed them in Canva and just exported them, just kind of showcase what that looks like. This is a 9x16 design that I use inside Canva and exported that. Then I was able to pull that in here. If I wanted to, I can actually do this again and say, okay, here for vertical, replace asset one more time. And this time I'm going to do the one where Coaching Corner is at the top. And you'll see that spin a second or two, and then bang, now it's there, and you can see that Coaching Corner is here with Kirk is here. It's a little bit smaller. It is what it is. It's kind of is what it is. But in this instance, if you had that kind of a banner or graphic on there, you might want to take the name off. But I just wanted to showcase what overlays look like now. And then we'll kind of look at backgrounds. We'll look at layouts and scenes. So let's go over here to scenes. I've created a new folder called Mars. And in that folder, I have several scenes that are already created. And so in the first scene, it's just me. You can see I'm looking at this camera up here. You can see, me on both sides. And that's what it would look like when I'm streaming to both vertical and wide. If I click on this next one, group discussion, this is 2 cameras. So I have my background shot in there. I've got my overhead shot here. You can see what it looks like both for both of them. And I want to be clear here. One of the things that I have done also is that I have selected a background. So I did select this background. So I could turn that background off, but I have this background is selected. And so keep this in mind, y'all. This layout is selected. This background is selected. This and these cameras have been added for this particular scene. Layout, background, cameras have all been added to this scene, and that scene is remembered. Just want to come back to the thing that I keep on hearing this over and over about layouts and scenes is like it doesn't save. I'm not certain how it's supposed. It doesn't. Every time I go back to it, it looks like it's a little bit different than what I edited before. It's meant for us to be able to save all these things together. And so I'm going to go back and showcase that a little bit further, but the camera, the background, and the layout have been all selected. This is the layout. This is the background, and you can tell both cameras have been added. Now, so in this media presentation one, I'm going to click it. It's just a scene. And in that scene, I have one camera. I have my slideshow, a totally different asset, right? Which is a slideshow added from my computer. And I can hit the arrow to go back and forth. Now, I did want to go here and hit the edit button, because when you are editing the layout, you are editing for both, but you don't really have much control over the vertical one. There's nothing to click here. So all I can do, I can move, and notice I move this one around. I have ability to change it, but I don't really have much ability to change anything in the vertical one. So you just kind of have to adjust. And I think maybe they did this to make it easier for those of, as we do this, I don't know, but I would love to see a scenario where you can actually make edits to the vertical one and have that completely look different than how your wide one looks. Because locking the two together, as you can see how this looks now, I mean, it's a little bit weird. I get it. I mean, you're still able to see all the words on the screen, and my camera is there, but in vertical. But it's just a little bit awkward because I would want it to fit. I would almost want to kind of, I don't know, design a different slideshow or something. I don't know. But listen, at the end of the day, though, it does work. And you can see that the background is showing. It's got my how it all works there at the top. It's, it kind of works. So we're moving in the right direction. This is first iteration of Mars. Hopefully they're going to give us more. All right, I'm going to try and speed up the rest of this. This is another layout here. Just I'm using the cropped layout. I've got the two cameras added and not really doing much with assets on this one. I'm going to go to another layout. This is a custom layout with the circle, picture-in-picture circle. I'm using asset, or just a graphic that I've added. And you can see how that looks there. And again, if I hit the edit button on this, as I move around my camera, even if I move around the image, it's just, it's a controlling both. And again, I would love to see a scenario where you could edit both, but you can't. So you want to adjust your custom layout to where it's going to work for both vertical and for wide. So you have that. And again, once you have that, you have your layout set, your asset set, your camera set, your shape, whatever, you save it. Once it's all set, there's not a save button, but once it's all set in that particular scene, you can move on. And you can see now, here's a video that's playing. I'm going to mute that, but there's a video that's playing. This video is playing wide for wide, but it's still, it's leaving the bar on the top and the bottom. I intentionally did not add myself to this scene the way that I saved it. So again, when I click back on this one, you have your scenes, everything is set. And again, that, being able to just fly through different scenes like this is so clutch. And then being able to go to your hotkeys and actually select different scenes. So these are the different layouts that you can select, but then you can also go next scene and previous scene on your Stream Deck. That could be absolutely clutch to be able to kind of just go through, showcase the different things that you got going on in this presentation scene. Of course, you could use your arrows or continue to use the Stream Deck as well to do some things. But these are the things I mean when I say it could absolutely be a game changer. And again, seeing it with the multi-aspect ratio piece, it has been eye-opening, and I think there is a lot of opportunity for us to be able to explore here. Last thing I wanted to take a look at is post-production. I wanted to take a look at, once the recording is done, what does happen, right? So let's take a look at that real quick. I'm going to go to the recording tab here inside of StreamYard, and you can see the local recording is done. There were two cameras. I'm actually going to go view in library. And one of the things I want you to recognize here is that it does not, even though it is streaming multi-aspect, it's only recording one aspect. It's only recording the wide aspect. And I'm not certain if that's intentional, if that's going to grow later, but right now that's the way that it is. And I have not seen it, set up in any other way. Post-production is where you might want to take a look at generating some AI clips from that multi-aspect ratio stream. That will give you some clips that are vertical, I would imagine. You can download your video, so you have the full video with no overlays that you can download. But then you also have the ability to download the audio as well, if you so desire. So there you have a lot of options there. Let's go back to the library. If I go back to this one, you can see edit title. You click on download, you have a lot of options here. So audio recording, separate audio, you have the transcript, and then you have the individual recording. All of these things you can configure and download in the way that you choose, man. If you're coming in brand new, you just clicked on this video because you heard that, StreamYard rolled out Mars, and you're trying to figure out like, what in the world is that? Like, how do I get involved? What am I missing out on? And you're intrigued by what you've seen so far. You kind of want to check out StreamYard, and you wanted to, kick the tires, as they say. This link that's on screen right now would also be in the description. It will also be in the first comment below. That link will get you a free trial of StreamYard. I would love for you to be able to check it out. And then, the truth is, I mean, there's a lot of content on this particular channel that will get you across the line in terms of StreamYard and being able to use it most effectively and efficiently. Man, so many different use cases that you can utilize StreamYard with. I honestly cannot begin to overstate like the discoverability aspect of Mars, right? Meaning, streaming on YouTube in the vertical stream is a discoverability hack, because that's not always sent to just who you normally stream to, not just your subscribers. It's sent wide. And so being able to stream to both your subscribers and to this, this shorts feed, if you will, right? It allows you to have maximum discoverability, and again, helps you to expand your reach. And lastly, one of the other big pieces that you don't want to discount here is you want to give people the content in whatever is native to them. If they want to watch it wide, if they want to watch it vertical, this feature allows for them to do whatever they please. And I think it's definitely something that we want to check out. And I would love to hear what you think in the comments below. If you need, if you're interested in a more in-depth refresher on layouts, definitely want to make sure you get a chance to come through and check out some of the things that we have on the channel, right? Because that's all that we do here. Layouts are the powerful combinations that if mastered, layout scenes, if mastered, they can make running a live show super, super simple. And so in this playlist right here, I do a deep dive of all things StreamYard, y'all, like assets, layouts, scenes, dashboard. Of course, Mars is not there because it wasn't there when I created the playlist, but everything else is. If you click this playlist right here, you'll see everything that we have to offer, and I'll see you over there. Grace and peace.